This video is about ABA therapy. Applied Behavioral Analysis is what it stands for. I used ABA therapy with my daughter when she was younger, and she was in a PPCD program, and she was not speaking, and it was very difficult to communicate with her because I didn't know what she understood and what she didn't understand. She was not a pointer, so she wouldn't point at things, so that wasn't helpful. And I played a lot of charades trying to figure out what it is that she wanted. And so applied behavioral analysis came in very, very handy with her tantrums, with getting her to understand, with extinguishing behaviors. So there were behaviors that she had that I didn't like her tantrums. And I was able to extinguish those behaviors and replace it with another behavior using ABA therapy. It also encouraged the behaviors that I wanted to see more of. We used ABA therapy for that. And then just trying to get her to label things and understanding a little more of what she understood and what she didn't understand cognitively, all was through ABA therapy. So back in the day, there were speech pathologists that didn't agree with ABA therapy. They thought it was quackery, and there are probably a handful or a lot of them that believe the same. But for us, in our experience, it came in very handy because when you have a child that's nonverbal, you have a lot of, you're very limited on how you can reach them. And ABA therapy helped us. It was not covered in insurance back in the day. It is now for many people, but it wasn't covered for insurance. So I paid for it for a little bit, but then it got really expensive really fast. So let me tell you about a backdoor that I used. I went to our local university, and our university had an ABA therapy program where they're teaching students how to become certified in this therapy so that they can go out, and help kids, right? And they had a program there. There was a group of them, I don't know, maybe about 15 or 20 of them, and they need subjects because they're training, and they need real life subjects. They can't use, they need real life people. And who are those real life people? Our kids, the kids that are on the spectrum. And so they don't advertise this. They didn't then, and they don't now. So you have to go looking. So I encourage you to go to your community colleges and your universities that you have nearby and see if they have a program, an ABA therapy program, where people are getting certified and they need subjects to practice on. Usually they'll do them in groups, and they'll do it over a series of a few weeks. My daughter was able to get ABA therapy this way, a few different rounds. And so you just have to inquire. And every time she went through a round, I was always present. I would always ask, can I just sit, if I sit quietly, can I just sit here? I wanted to be a fly on the wall. Always being a student, always learning. But really quickly I realized, I watched what they were doing and how they were doing it and in the order that they were doing it, and I realized that it's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. So I'm sorry if you have a certification in ABA therapy and it costs you a lot of money, but it wasn't rocket science. So what I decided to do is I hired an actual certified ABA therapist, and I had her come to my house, and I asked her to watch me do the therapy and run through it and ask her any questions that I had. And I asked her to correct me if I was doing something wrong or just didn't understand something. And so we did that a few times, and she's like, no, you got this. You're totally doing all the things. And so I was like, okay, that's what I needed to know. I needed to know that from somebody that actually got trained, to make sure that I was doing all the things right and not missing anything. And so I learned how to do ABA therapy. I did not get certified, but I knew enough to teach my daughter, and that's how I did it. That's how I got around having to pay somebody to do the therapy. I just did it myself. And so I encourage you to make yourself a student, look into your universities, volunteer your children into maybe a program that they might have where they're looking for subjects to practice their ABA therapy on, and you can work on whatever your kid needs. So you're not alone. I know it's difficult. It's a hard road with these kids that are nonverbal. And so I encourage you to follow me on this channel, and I'll be doing a lot of other videos. Leave in the comments, what is it that you want to see? I've got My kids are 22 and 24 now, and so we've been through toddler years, school aged, I homeschooled, tween years, teenagers, all the way up until their 20s. And so if you have any questions, you leave them in the comments, and I can make videos for you about tantrums, about potty training, about eating, about their clothing. The list goes on of the things that I can share with you, the experiences that we've had, because we've had many. I have one that's more low functioning nonverbal, and then I have one child that's more high functioning and just struggles with the social stuff. So, again, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found me. Autism Alternative Journey is the route that we took. So please join me. Thanks.